Good morning, good evening. Hello, everybody. My name is Dariusz Koba, and I will have a great pleasure to talk to you about public procurement opportunities in Poland. Let me say a few words about myself. I work in public procurement since 1994, when Poland introduced its public procurement system. It was the first implementation of UNCITRAL model law. And since then, I consult procuring entities how to buy widely. I consult contractors how to win tenders. I trained a lot. I took part in many different strange, big and small procurements. Let me say you about Poland. Poland, what do you mean Poland? And associations with Poland? Who's this? Yes, it's John Paul II, our Holy Pope of turn of the century. You probably know him. And this? What's this? What's the picture? It's the image of God's mercy in almost every Catholic church. I'm sure that in Korea too. Drawn by Faustina Kowalska and her diary, the second world bestseller just after the Bible. What else? Solidarity, yeah, Solidarność, our movement of 1980s. And its face, Lech Wałęsa. And you know that the end of the Cold War and the collapse of Soviet Empire and the fall of the Berlin Wall, all this started in 1980 in Poland with Solidarity. What about his? Fryderyk Chopin, our famous composer. Have you heard about him? Although his family name is not Polish, it's French. He spent almost all his life on emigration in Paris, missing to his motherland, and you can hear it in his works. Even if it's all you know about Poland, you know enough. You know our values. We believe in God. We try to love people. We are honorable. We fight for freedom. We love our homeland and its beauty. If you know this and you respect our values, it's a good background to start some business in Poland. Although not always, and not in every procurement you will find them, unfortunately. Poland means where? Where do it live? It lives somewhere on the western peninsula of Asia. Yes, it's called Europe. That's right. We are just in the center of Europe. Poland is not the biggest country in Europe and not the biggest economy, but it's the best way to enter all European market, especially in public procurement. Why? Let me explain. About our procurement market in Poland, we have data from 2019. We had 25,000 announcements published in Tenders Electronic Daily. Every year, 25,000 of announcements from Poland. Very easy, accessible. It's like 11% of all tenders and 42% of announcement from new member states. I mean Central and Eastern Europe. And we published announcements about thresholds, which are the same as in GPA, Government Procurement Agreement. So you should know, for goods and services, it's from 140,000 to 440,000 euros, depending on the entity. And for construction works, it's about 5.5 million euros. Is it quite a lot of money? I think so. All value of public contracts awarded last year in Poland is about 50 billion of euro. And the share is the same. 1/3 is works, 1/3 goods, 1/3 services. So everybody can find something for himself among these announcements. But the largest, the biggest investments in Poland coming soon. The biggest is the nuclear power plant. We try to build our first nuclear reactors. And it's assumed that next year we'll choose the technology, and the commissioning of the first reactor will be in 2033. Is it possible? It was postponed a lot. Could you please help us with a project? It's about 20 billion euros. And next, wind farms. At least 2 farms are planned on the Baltic Sea, total 10 billion euro. Procurements should be announced like next year, probably. Another one, hub. We plan to build the largest airport in this part of Europe, the Solidarity Transport Hub. Not only the airport, but also many kilometers of roads and railways. And all the estimated value is 10 billion euros. Could you help us in this? Could you see the short film about this investment? Okay. Oh yeah, we'd like to have such a system as you have. But not only the biggest investments. You can see here many others, not only the hub and nuclear reactors, not only wind farms on the Baltic Sea, but also many roads, many railways, and seaports. A lot of money to earn in Poland. And announcements. Our market, public procurement market, is very fragmented. There are over 30,000 contracting authorities in Poland. And but good is that the largest are made by several roads, railways. As far as energy, we have 3 most companies, biggest ones, and you should remember that some investments are made by special vehicles like a nuclear power plant or the hub Of course, all the announcements are published in Tenders Electronic Daily. You can read them in English, but you should know about the tenders area. So you can find also plans. Also, plans of procurement are published on internet, and from the next year, all the plans from Poland will be published in Public Procurement Bulletin in Polish, unfortunately. As far as procedures of procurement, most of them are unlimited tenders, like 90% of contracts in Poland. So anyone who meets the conditions can submit an offer. Some of them are negotiated procedures according to the directive. So anyone can submit a request to participate, and there is a pre-qualification, and only shortlisted companies are invited to negotiation or to dialogue, and only they may submit offers. Mainly sector procurement entities like water, energy, transport, postal services use this procedure. As far as qualification, how to pass the qualification process, how to meet the conditions. In Poland, all the grounds for exclusion and all the conditions are for the participation are very clearly defined in the announcement. And the same with selection criteria. So anyone can verify if you meet or not. It's not hard, it's easy. Even if you don't meet all the requirements, you may submit an offer in the consortium with other companies or with a qualified subcontractor. So, and moreover, you can always ask for clarification of the conditions or even for amendment of the conditions. And we'll see one case during success story later on. Our procedures are very formalized. On the one hand, it's good because everything is designed and very good written. On the other hand, you have to read it very carefully. You have to meet all formal and merit requirements. You should prepare your offer very carefully. You should collect a lot of documents about your company. We always ask for certificates of clean criminal record for all members of the management board and supervisory board, and for all proxies. A lot of documents to collect, and certificates for paying taxes and social security, and letter of references, of course, and many others. Even if we ask them in electronic form, you should have them, because sometimes very minor mistake can cause that the offer will be rejected. Our contracts in public procurement in Poland are tough. Usually all the risks or main risks are passed on to the contractors. So again, you have to read all the specs and all contracts very carefully. You should calculate your price very carefully, because it's very rarely possible to increase it during the implementation. Other risks, there are many of them. You should assess them, not to incur losses. another Polish feature. The lowest price wins. At the slide, it looks like at a glance that we use other than price criteria very often. Yes, it's true. But in 85% of tenders, the cheapest offer is selected. So, frankly speaking, all other criteria are easy to fulfill for everybody. If you'd like to win a tender, usually you have to have the lowest price. But it was not true in the success story. I will show you later. All of this probably causes very poor competition. There are not many offers submitting in our tenders. 2.42, not even 3 offers in average for one procedure. There are more than 40% of procedures for supply and services when we receive only one offer. Okay, in construction works, there are more offers. So, just reach. Open market. Our Polish procurement market is the most open market in Europe, for sure. That is why Poland is the best way to enter European market. Because every company can compete in Poland. Every company, even out of the GPA. If it is fair competition, that we accept even Chinese offers. We accept even state-owned Chinese companies. Is it fair competition? I won't discuss it now, but it's open competition. It's free competition for everybody. So how many foreign companies win a tender? Depends how do you calculate, how do you understand foreign companies. Formally, 3%, not much. Okay, but 97% of contracts were awarded to domestic enterprises, but we count as domestic enterprise all companies based on headquarters in Poland. So if you open a daughter company in Poland, you will be treated as domestic enterprise. So even if these circumstances, 3 out of 100 tenders win companies not having headquarters, not having daughter company, not even branch in Poland. Of course, it would be much easier to win something in Poland having a part of your organization in our country. So many Korean companies are in our market. Some of them compete for public procurement. Most of them work in private sector. So please join them. Some success stories of Korean companies in Poland. Can you see this? Yes, POSCO in Kraków. Waste to energy plant in Kraków for 25 million euros. And apart from everything, nice building. Yeah. And another success story, Hyundai trams in Warsaw. Yes. And in 2017, there was a tender for the municipality of our capital, and there was a requirement. The trams should be approved for operation in one of European Union member states or in countries with which the European Union concluded agreement on equal treatment. And Hyundai didn't meet the condition. So they asked if the contracting authority could accept the approval from Turkey. They didn't have to do it, but the contracting authority complied with the request, and in the next tender, Hyundai could submit an offer. And Hyundai won the tender for the delivery of 213 trams for Warsaw, like €500 million. It was after contest, after a long procedure. There was a long procedure, but a success story. So we will have Hyundai trams on our streets. And what about your success story in Poland? If you find something interesting, if you meet the conditions for participation, or you can obtain the cooperation of someone who meets them, if you have an attractive price offer, if you have a good legal advice on site, and you are not afraid of risk, give yourself a chance in Poland. Why not? Try. Okay, thank you. See you in Poland. If any questions, don't hesitate to ask. It was a pleasure. All the best.